Hey guys, my name is Nima from MB.cryptocurrency. Today we have a complete guide about Tradingview. So generally we are going to go through every details in Tradingview, introduce a platform because it's one of the most used trusted platforms as well in order to do the technical analysis for any financial market. Also, you can get a lot out of it as well. As you can see in my page, you can get if editors picked any analysis from the people that have experience working for even months, years, to working with TradingView. Their analysis is legit, most likely, but that doesn't mean actually it's gonna be 100% true. It's just a scenario that they made, and because of the experience, maybe sometimes a TradingView choose a couple of them, and you can read whatever is that because it's not only for stocks. You can even find it for crypto, which is our main reason we're gonna have explain how to use TradingView today. But before I actually go through and talk about TradingView, I was thinking about it, why someone should actually watch me talking about TradingView, because if you see there's tons and tons of videos about TradingView, and the reason is if someone might watch our videos in I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, a year, 2 years, they're used to how we see and how we work in cryptocurrency in cryptocurrency market, and they will be familiar with how we act with TradingView, how we work with it. I know the general things is actually same, but I will show you and emphasize in the parts that actually the most that I personally use, and also my colleagues and my friends use it the most in cryptocurrency. But by no means it does not mean that it's only the way that you can actually make your own analysis and have any profit in crypto market. No, but it's just something that I do, something that I've seen that worked for me, and that's why you choose us to see how to learn about TradingView. That's why we are providing this video to you guys. So I imagine that you went to the tradingview.com, you sign up, and this page will be the first page that comes up, which I know it's a little bit tricky, but it just gives you a lot of option, which is chart, which is the main thing that we're gonna work for today. You can see the market as well. You can get the stock, cryptocurrency, currencies, indices, futures, and bonds. You can see all of this, but for us, we're gonna focus more on cryptocurrency. Also, you can get some news about markets, crypto, everything, but this is another source that I use for either news or screeners, sorry, or getting a little bit information from community. I don't. It just I'm using it mainly for only technical analysis and my own technical analysis. I used to read people's technical analysis in order to develop me how to think and see how other people's really do the technical analysis and try it and find their own way that I feel satisfied, and I'm still learning. People, when they've been doing it for 10 years, 15 years, they're still learning, because this market is dynamic. You have to change by the time. So now this is for the Apple. So what did I press? So if we go back, that's the main page. I press on chart, so it brings up the chart. This is the main page we actually work with to generally almost everything with TradingView. So I press this one as a symbol search, which our case we're gonna write down BTC, which is Bitcoin, to USDT. This is a pair that I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna choose it for Binance, Bitcoin to Tether, and this is what we get. Press hold and control while zooming to maintain the chat position. As you see, this is happen. We can actually make it watchlist. This is the first thing that actually comes up. You can either delete it if you don't watch. For example, if you're not to stock, you can just press this X and delete stocks. You can even but they're actually useful some ways, but I don't really use it. DXY, I use it, but for the sake of this video, I don't really want to mention about it, so I just delete this as well. We really meant focus on crypto. You might ask, how do I add to my watch list? You can just add a symbol. For example, you have already BTC USDT, we have Ethereum, we can go for like Cardano. This is an example. You press this one and add to watch list. If you see ADA USDT, it adds here as well. When your list actually grows, you can actually scroll this one down because you don't need that much information. You can see what are the opens, what are the day range, what are the closes, what are the range for 52 weeks range, which is a year. The performance, I don't really trust this as a technical. It's just like a technical analysis of the a Tradingview. Just consider about the volume and so many other factors to give you this, but I don't trust this because the market is dynamic and it's more than technical itself. So I just scroll it down. Usually to give this, you just write down the names over here. So you can even add more. You can go with whatever, for example, what else, like .USDT. You can either add for each exchanges. For example, you can add for KuCoin, you can add for CoinEx, Kraken, Coinbase, and it brings up a lot of them. Depends on which exchange that you actually use. If you don't know where to find the exchange that you use, you can get all of the information on this tab, which we'll go and explain about this, but you can see the name of the exchanges as well. So that was the first part. You can actually go on setting. I'm pretty much sure because this this account is not a pro account. It's like a very limited properties and features that you use. When you press this one, there's like something like a pie. It just shows how many symbols that you use on crypto, which exchanges that you cover, which I add, for example, one Coinbase, one Kraken, KuCoin, Bitstamp, and Binance. And it just gives a little bit of overview in general. I don't really use it that much. I don't like it, just on your choice. If you feel that this pie chart gives you better understanding, use it. Also, if you want to add, you can add the symbol, press this one. You choose your coin and token, for example, USDT. You can add, and this way, so that's generally it. You can also have a red list. You cannot have, as far as that I know, you cannot create a new list because this is not a pro account. The pro account is generally depends is between 10 to 15 USD dollar per month, which is the amount of things that the amount of knowledge you can get from this. It's much more than the price actually pay. And I forget to tell something else. I usually press logarithmics, and the reason is mostly professional people in the financial market use logarithmic charts in order to see the changes. And the reason is, for example, we can see how much this actually it increased considered to that part. For example, if you see it, just an estimation, this is like 100% increase. You can estimate like this amount is gonna be like almost 100% as well. See, because of the same size. So that's why you can see, hey, this will like just increase, like get doubled, something like this. But the logarithmic, it's just a little bit harder. Especially it will find out, it will be a little bit more clear on Bitcoin. If you want to see like what happened in past, it's just so hard to just analysis whatever that happened and just use this analysis from the past or like backtesting in order to use it in future or deciding to making those scenarios. And this is not logarithmic and this is logarithmic. See the difference? You can actually get a lot of information from this. So also you can press, I'm just gonna scroll down this way a little to get a little bit information. So you want to see which one had worst changes percentage wise per day. You press this one. This like you make it lowest, highest. You want to opposite. You press one more time. You can just change it. You just want to by the alphabet. You can press it, the symbol to sort it, and the volume, which I don't use it generally. I just use the changes to see which one had the like a worse day of profit, and which one that I lose the most, decreased. This is something that I usually do. So this is mainly about this part. Now this one is the alerts, which because it's only this is not a pro account, I can make one alert. There's several ways you can make alert. Either you just create alert by this one. You can say BTC USD crossing, or like greater, less than, exiting channel. You can put like a channel, the values, and so on. This is, you can put, for example, 44,000. This is what you can put, and you just say, because it is logarithmic, the the calculation are based on linear scale, not logarithmic. So that's why it just usually the problem if the line is not straight as it is with this one. So if it's like a horizontal line, it will be fine, but if it's like a trend line, it will be a little bit different when you wanna make like alert. And also that was one way. The other way, on top you can press alert as well, same thing. But also imagine you want to make a horizontal line. It's, for example, at the top, and you want to add alert. You press this alert over here, which is, you can move this one, press alerts, and you create. If you see never miss a trade, because you have only this is free account, you can only add one alert. Just gonna delete that. The next one is the headlines. Depends on what you add, what you're looking forward. Just give you a Bitcoin, gold, inflation. It just gives a headline in general. This one gives like a BTC when we choose. It just gives the information. For example, when I move my cursor, it just change the date and show me the open, high, low, close, and changes, and the volume as well. This is about a little bit information about US exchanges. Percentage gainer, I don't use it because we using it for sake of crypto. The calendar, this is good, kind of. I don't really use it because I still have another website. I know there's like a tons of websites that I actually mentioned for the news, for calendars, but this is not a one that I use because I don't really find it as user friendly as other websites, and I'm feeling more confident with them as well. So this is ideas. You can publish your ideas after like either you have to verify your account, which I didn't, but after verification you can have your own analysis and publish over this way or from here. This one you can see your ideas that have been published. This one is like a chat. People are chatting about and sharing their ideas in general, like a chat form rather than publishing their analysis. This is a recent chat that you had with like a private message. This is an idea stream, which there should be at least a couple of them, maybe because I just made this account like maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago, straight before I record. That's why this is not much here. Also, this is streams that you can watch on your leisure. I've never used it. If you want to see, if you want to watch it, be my guest. This is notification happens if someone follow or like the ideas that you published. And this is about the broker that you use. I don't really connect my broker, which is exchanges, to be honest, for the term that I actually be using cryptocurrency. And this is, I don't really use it as well. Now, this is a layer that actually you can see with the chart. For example, if you had like a brush, you just do something, you just log it in here. For example, this one is this brush. Horizontal line, just a little bit highlighted, and you can actually say don't show it, or if you want to lock it so you cannot really move it at all. So you cannot really move it at all until you unlock it again, or you can delete this. You can press and delete. And this is as well, you can get like a little bit of information. It just supports that if you have any question, and if there's like have been answered by like FAQ, you can actually find it in here. So that was the right side in general. So I always keep it on the top one to see my watch list. I'm just gonna push a little bit this side to make a little bit room for others. So now we're going on top part. We explain a little bit about the publish. You publish whatever analysis you have. After you did your analysis, publish, you just write down what do you think, and that's it. You can even save a chart image. Even you can copy the chart image. You can copy the link to the chart image, open image into the new tab, or you can tweet the chart image if you have any analysis. Also, you can full screen as well. You press exit, and this is the main part, the chart setting. You can change the color of the body, change the border of the pattern, the charts, the week. For example, if I press the week, you just delete the week. I want to see the week, to be honest, because you can get a lot of information. The last price, if you see the last price, that's what's happening. If it's going up, if the candle is green, it's just green. If it's below, if the candle is red, this is red as well. You can change the color. All things you actually can customize the looking of the symbols. In general, just play with it, find your own. Usually you see the TradingView as like white, like a day. What are the phrase? I'm missing something. The dark themes that I use it, usually it is like this, which is like hurt my eyes, to be honest. So I just bring it back to the dark color. I like it the most. You can customize it in any way. Now the symbols, when you press it, the symbol will be gone. This one, you can see a little bit description of what's happening. The open market status you can see here, not really important to see if the market is open or not. For crypto market is 24/7, so it should be always green. This is the values, open, high, low, close. Bar changes values. You can just depends on your own. You can actually change the opacity of the background. Just play with it to see which one does it that it does work for you. Also play with this. For example, you can change the currency. I don't really change all of this. For me, this customize that it has, it's good enough for itself. You can just press what you're gonna do. For example, this one, bid and ask, not really useful. High, low, average. So average, high, low, not really useful. Appearance, you can play with it as well to customize it for your own. TradingView, how do you feel it? Sometimes I just see like people changing even their colors, changing symbols color, like green as like a blue as like it's going up, and red is like the candle is like negative, so the close is lower than the open. You just customize it as the way that you want. And actually events, I don't really change it because I don't really care about the events happening in here. I don't really follow the events here. Now this one you can put always this one in autosave, because whenever you have your any analysis, if you like doing like anything, like you're seeing where is support and resistance, if it's not on autosave, and just close the tab. You have to do it from the beginning. You can press save now if you have finished your stuff to make sure it's saved as well. Sharing off, if you want to share your the analysis that you have without publishing it, so everyone can see with the link, can view and copy whatever that you have done. You can rename this one. As you see, it's unnamed. I change it as a MB, and it will save as MB. Also, you can make a new chart layout. When you press, it just opens a new chart, and you can load it here. If I would press the new chart layer, it would just bring another one, which the name would be unnamed, and you can actually do everything from the scratch. So this one, it just shows a layout. I don't think you can do anything, yes, because you don't have any. I mean, for me, this account is not a pro. If you have pro, you can make it two, either this one. If you have like a pro plus, if I'm not mistaken, you can have 4 charts per desktop page that you have, and etc. It will be useful sometimes when you have like 2 charts next to each other, if you want to do any if you want to compare things. But there's other way of comparing stuff as well. Let me just delete all of this. So for example, you want to compare the BTC dollar to BTC dominance. New price scale, which is just bring us here. For example, this we can see, hey, the price has been increased, that's why this is increased, but the price has been kind of the same, but if you see the dominance decrease, so there's like a divergence. Depends on what you want to get, and you can have your own analysis. You can put and compare to other things. You don't necessarily need to have like the two things. So I'll talk a little bit about compare as well, and you can put and compare the charts. You can put even, for example, Ethereum as well, like to see the Ethereum USD to USDT, and what are the changes to BTC to USD. This one, this is a, let me just cancel this. This is a reply, one of the most useful functions, especially when you like getting into a little bit understanding of the crypto world. You learn about trading a little. You learn how to do the technical analysis. Now you're making your own the way of analysis, and you want to test it. Something we call like back testing. So we press this, everything will be off from that side. So you can make your analysis by, you see the chart, something like this, something happened, blah blah blah. So I estimate this will go up because of that. Then you press forward to see what's gonna happen. You press the candles forward. This will change the speed, and to see what's gonna happen, you can pause it again. You can go one candle forward, one candle forward. So you can do back testing with that. Yes. Exit the model. So this is you can do reply. We talk about alert as well, which you can do with Alt A. Template. There's a couple of indicators, useful one that they have it. For example, you can go MA exponential EMA, which have 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 until 40, 55, which they show usually when it's above, it's bullish. When it's below, it's kind of bearish. Something that happened in here as well. And the brand and all of the lines kind of work as a line of resistance, which it's dynamic resistance rather than static. And this was about that. So I'm just gonna delete this. I'm just gonna keep the volume, but I have to change it later because I don't like the color. And we talked about the indicators. You can see a lot of indicators. You can search it. For example, moving average. You can add moving average, or you can put, for example, volume. You can put the volume, as I said, this one. And I think you can add, except volume, you can add 2 more as well as like a free account. 2 other indicators. If you make pro, you can make 5 indicators in total. So this is the add indicators, but if you want to change something, a setting about the indicator, you just go on indicator, press on setting. You can, for example, change the length by like 50, for example, moving average rather than 9 moving average. Depends on what you're going to do. Also, for example, for volume, you can press, you have to play with it a little to just understand how it is. You can make even moving average for the volume. For example, you can make like 30. And how it's going to show, for example, volume moving average, it just shows, you can add this up to 10. So volume moving average, it just shows. You can even change the color of it either by pressing this or pressing on the volume, double click, and change the style. You can change how do you want it to show, like a circle, or like either line. You can change the opacity, you can change the color of it. You can see the thickness to see the better understanding. You can just customize it in any other way do you want. This is a way to change the the candles, or like the way that you want to show your charts. I prefer candles. You can get the most. I work with it the most, but you just can choose in any other way you want. I've seen people using the bar as well. I don't like it. Maybe I'm too much used to candle, and I'm kind of biased, but yep, that's worked for me the best. Choose what actually works for you the best as well. Now we're working with the time frame. When you press this, as you can see, it's 1 day. You can even add it to your favorite by just pressing this star. You can add favorite, then another 1 hour, like 30 minutes and onward. So if you get a pro account, I'm pretty much sure you can get like a customized like how can I say, like customized like interval. For example, you can say 10 minutes, which for some reason it's just showing 10 months, which I'm doing in a way that I shouldn't. You can add it from here as well. You can add, for example, minutes. You can write 15. Add. That's why I say, hey, you have to like upgrade to your pro in order to add like customize intervals to see what's happening. But in order, like I add in here as favorites, I can move it like 4-hour charts, daily chart. You can move it by like holding it and moving the thing. You can either zoom out or zoom in, or even you can scroll down, scroll in and out as well. Forget to press on log. I don't really use this percentage because it just shows the percentage, which I don't know what information you can really get. I've never used it before. So this is so far with this. I'm trying to see if I missed anything from the top. We talked about this, the candle compare indicator template, and you can undo stuff as well with pressing this, or you can press Ctrl Z with undoing and redo. That I forget the Ctrl Y. Yeah, Ctrl Y was the redo as well. Now we going to the left part. First of all, let me just delete all of this moving average and let's just have the volume. So sharing, you can share it as we said, rename, make a copy, export the chart data, quick search, never use it. This is, you can see the information about the profile, accounts and billing, and so on. The things, help center, what's used, if there's another update. You can change the language, and drawing panel. It just showed the drawing panel that we're going to talk. We're going to talk now. And dark themes, which I do it as well. I like it the most. You can work with the keyboard shortcut in general. Now, this one. This is about the cursor that you can see as a dot or as a cross. Prefer cross. Never seen anyone else using the other. If you're feeling better to use other like arrow, just use it. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't make you an like outcaster or outsider to us. So let's just work with the other things. So trend line, you can make it like a trend line. Like I'm just trying to find a trend line that actually works the best. This is not logarithmic. That's the reason. For example, you can make a trend line here. Over here, as you can see, like touched a couple of times. You can make a trend line like over here as well. It's a trend line that you can make. This is arrow, same thing. It's just arrows as well. Absolutely the same. It's just array. You point something to something else, and it just shows onwards without ending. So this is arrow. This is array. The info line. It just gives the information as well. Don't really use it because I can get enough information with the ruler as well, which we'll talk about it later. Let me delete this and make it like a little bit clean. Extended line, same as array but in both ways, so both sides. And angular trend line, just angular. What should I talk? It just shows the angle of the trend line. Nothing much. I don't know if it doesn't really show that much because the color, it's not that clear. That's why you can even go and change it. For example, the visibility or anything you want to do. Let me bring it here. So for example, you can say it's like 7. You can move it here. It will be like 46 now. Now we can work on horizontal line. One of the useful one that actually the one that actually I'm adding it for my crypto. I'm using trend line. I'm using the array. I'm using horizontal array. I can add it on your favorite. Horizontal array is the same. You press this one from onwards, it just shows. What else? The vertical line, you can see you can put the times as like vertical lines. Let me just delete everything. And the cross line, the cross is just cross both sides. Don't really use it, never use it much. Parallel channel is one of the useful one as well. You can put a parallel channel. You can even customize it to be like a little bit more, friendlier or like better. For example, you can change the like a background to something a little bit closer to white, and you change the opacity. Now it's a little bit clearer. And if you see everything is kind of, for example, blue, you change it to like, I don't know, something around yellow, and you change the color opacity to make it like less, like with bunch of lines, so it'll be like a little bit more visible if you want to have any analysis on the chart in general. So I add the parallel channel as well. Regression trend, never used it. Disjoint channel, never use it. Regression, this is mainly the ones that actually I'm using. Trend line, ray, horizontal line, horizontal ray, parallel channel. Now let's just go for the second one, Fib retracement. You go on the bottom, on top, make a Fibonacci. You can see what's happening. Also, you can change you can customize it as well by double pressing it. You can either change which one that you want to see, for example, like Bob, and you're happy with this, you press OK and you see what's happening. You can also change the opacity, the background color as well, as we explained. Next one, 100% I use this. Also the Fibonacci extension. You press this, this, and this. So you have to it should be 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. So it just shows how much from this side is increased. If it's increased, for example, to 1, it should be this side, and you get a little bit more information as well, which I 100% add this. Pitchfork, never use it. Not really, useful I can get. These are not as useful as you guys think in general. I'm going to next part, which is a brush. You can actually draw as a brush. Next one is like a highlight. So I have the brush in general, and also a rectangle. So for example, you can put like a rectangle to see, for example, a range at the price. Have like if any area of resistance or support, you can make a line, say, hey, this is the area of the support or resistance, and this is, for example, the range. You can do it by rectangle. Never use this as well. Not really as useful as you think. This is a path. You can make a path, for example, if you have analysis, for example, to see, for example, hey, you see this is downward, so it's got to be this way, and this happened, and double click in order to end it. You can actually use it in order to make it like a path if you have any analysis. This is like a curve for like a drawing part, triangle, rotate the triangle. This is like a drawing part, and double curve. This is like a drawing. Not much of a use for this one for making your analysis. Next one is a text. This is you write down the text. This is the text anchored to currency. This is the text anchored over here. If you see when I'm moving the scroll down or scroll in, it does not change the place that text is, because it is anchored to the background. This is the note. You can actually press on, write down a note, and it just stay this way when you scroll down. Hover your cursor onto it, you can see the notes. Just gonna delete. This is the same thing. The note's gonna anchor, signpost. If you see what's happening exactly on the time, so like a signpost. Let me see what's next. The tweet. If you have any link for any tweet, you can just add it to like a background of your Tradingview analysis, and you can publish it. Any ideas from Tradingview, you can add the call out. You can write down a text. It's a call out for here. I'm using this one as well. Balloon, same as this. It's like a balloon, which you cannot really change it. This one for call out, you could actually change the place. That's a little difference. The price label, for example, if you had analysis, say, hey, this is, for example, the lowest part. If you reach in here, for example, I'm gonna buy, something like this. You cannot really move it when you price label. It just shows the price label of this part. But the next one is price note. For example, you can press here, but you can show it somewhere else. An arrow, easy. It's arrow mark your left, arrow mark your right, arrow mark your up, arrow mark it down, flag mark. You can have it like a flag mark if you wish. And the next one, to make it like a ABCD pattern, maybe make it a little bit more visible. Depends on what you're gonna do. So, which I don't really use a harmonic anymore. I really use a price action for my analysis mostly. And I mean, I use another as well, the patterns as well, but the harmonic, I haven't used it for a long time. This is when you want to make I mean, all of them is for about making, you know, patterns, the circle lines. Let me clean this. For example, you choose a low to other low. This is estimate, for example, the other lows as this one, like for example, estimate the other lows. And the reason behind of it is, for example, if the wells take this time from this low to this low, so for example, well bought this time, that was the lowest, for example, and well bought this time as well as like a possible lowest. There's a possible lowest on each cycle because they tend to work in a cycle, or at least in the area. So where's a brush that I add? For example, this one. Or there's an estimation, this has got to be the lowest as well. You can work with as a low to, let me delete the things. So for example, this was the lowest and this was the highest. This is a possible to have like a lowest again, or like highest in here, or that it shows a possible lowest and highest when you work with, you know, cyclic line. The rest of it, not really useful. You can see head and shoulder patterns. You can actually see by itself. For example, this was a, you know, head and shoulder patterns in general. This is what's kind of look like it, you know, shoulder, head, and shoulder, kind of like a pattern, which it hasn't been fully completed, because if the price will actually move up, it kind of cancel the head and shoulder pattern, which you can generally see. You don't need to you don't need to specifically use any sort of indicator or anything to draw and see the head and shoulder patterns in general. There's some basic, you can be a little bit flexible with it, but you just actually by the time you realize if you see head and shoulder pattern, you have to work with possibility, and when the patterns has been completed, you just see the scenarios. This one is a long and short position. For example, you had your scenario, say, hey, this will, sorry, I'm just gonna move. You had your scenarios, you just say, hey, this most likely will actually move up. So I'm just gonna make a long position. For example, you press this one and you put your stop loss around this side and you take profit this side. This will show your risk to reward ratio 3.85. If you otherwise making any short position, which let me delete this, press this one, you put your take profit, for example, you know, like a bottom and stop loss, and for example around here. If the price reach here, you see your risk to reward ratio in general. Also, this is like symbols that you can use. So generally that's it. The only things that actually I'm using it the most, I forget to add the long in position, and yeah, the price range, data range. The reason that I'm not using the data range and price range, which for example I just use the price range, but for the ruler, when I put it, I get both the price range, the data range, and also the volume all together, so I don't need to use any of them. But there's one thing that actually remained that I have not talked about, which is fixed range volume profile. You just choose the range of time you want to put the volume profile. It just gives for the price that the amount of volume has been traded on each price, not each, but like a range of price. For example, it just shows in this range which around, let me take a brush. For example, this range, which is between 49,000 to 45,000 roughly, market has interest to do trade, either sell or high. We don't really know. So market has interest to sell a high, so which is work as a resistance for now. If the price was higher and was touching here, it would work as a support. So that's the reason. For example, for here, it just worked as a support for a while, but actually it couldn't really handle, and we had like a true breakout after a small pullback. So this is a volume profile you can see, and we make a video if you guys want to actually explain how to use a volume profile. And as I said, we work with this ruler as well to get all of this measurements. This is the zoom in and zoom out, which I don't tend to use it. I just zoom in, zoom out, or even scroll up and down with my mouse. And this one is a magnet. For example, you want to make a train line. You want to make sure you don't miss anything, and you touching the bottom and either top, bottom, high, close, or wick. So as you see, for example, when I bring it close, the magnet will touch the bottom of this one. Yep, this is how you can use it as a weak magnet or strong magnet. I tend not to use it. Imagine you finish your stuff, you don't want to draw anything, you won't even press this. Sorry. So this one stay in a drawing mode, so you can actually draw, you stay on it. And this one is when you lock, so you cannot change anything, you cannot move anything. So as you see, I cannot, even that I hold it, I cannot move anything. This one remove every possible drawing or any indicators that we have. This will bring it back. And this one, when you press, we can remove drawing, remove indicators, or remove both. When you press, all of them are gone. As a last part, we're going to talk about the bottom part, which I know the numbers gonna be a little bit confusing. To the top part, you might say, hey, what are the difference between the numbers on bottom and top? So top one is a time frame. For example, if we choose 1D, which is daily, so each edge candle is 1 day. But this one, when you, for example, press 1 day, you're forced to bring a 1 minute candles, but this whole page shows 1 day. If we press, for example, 1 month, the candles will be 30 minutes. So each candle, small candle that you see, represents 30 minutes, but that was 1 month. For example, 6 months, it will bring 2 hours candle. At 1 year, it brings a daily candle. If you see, it's around 364 candles from 10th of the February, like 11th of February, till today, which is 11th of February as well. So yep, there's a difference. You can also press this one and choose the exact time to actually go to, even for the time as well. Or you can apply a custom range in order to show you. So that's generally it. We talk about logarithmic and auto as well, which are something that I think I forgot talking about auto, which sometimes when you want to like hold and scroll up and down, you can customize it if you want, but because it is not on auto, if you see when I'm zooming, it's not as good as it should be. That's why you can press auto and just makes it fit to your screen. But easy, like you can, for example, you want to see like a detail. Let me bring it like, for example, auto. You want to see more details, for example, in here rather than have like a big picture in here. So you scroll up. You can scroll for the time as well to make it a little bit wider, and you can customize and see. As you press auto, it will change it a little. So that's something that you can work with as well. You can change your time zone as well. And also now the bottom part, you press, or then you can make it full screen as well, which I don't really use it. I use a crypto scanner. You can go stock scanner or forex scanner. I apply filter, which I don't know if I want to reset it, so I just want to reset all filters. So it's around 11,000 cryptos from different exchanges in Tradingview that you can see and make your analysis. Let's just change a couple of things. For example, we can apply filters. For example, the Binance. So automatically brings 2000. We can bring something like BTC and make it even less, like 300. Matches the pairs that you can has like BTC in it. You can swap the token to the BTC, for example, or even USDT, which is around 500, as you're saying. So you can actually play with it, change the filter, either descriptive, financial, or technical. For example, you can go with, for example, simple moving average, above, for example, above the, or even you can say, for example, crosses, open, and this will change it. All the things that you can see, you can actually press it, the filter, make it whatever you want, and that will filter everything and shows whatever you request from it on each, for example, specific exchange that you request. This is something that you can do. This is one of the most useful places to use a filter and see the, to make it like a filter. For example, you want to see the moving average, and you can say, hey, if it's above the moving average, show it to me. And you can see if it's above moving average, it's like it is tend to be like kind of bullish rather than bearish. Something that you can use as well with the crypto scanner. Next one is a text note. For example, you want to add a text note. If you have done something, you want to add something, say, hey, I learned today because of this, I made this mistake, the strategy didn't work, so next time I have to do this. So when you save it, next time you come, you can read that. It's always have to even like a textbook that you write then on your notes or in here. The editor, you can just write your code or your indicator. Strategy, you can plan your strategy by indicators, the thing that you're using. The trading plan that I don't really use it for the crypto, and telling you guys to use it as well from the exchanges itself rather than using them here. It's something that I do, depends what you're doing as well. So generally we explain everything. There is so much into the crypto, as you can see, there's so much into the crypto, and also Tradingview, that you can always every day discover something new. If I want to make it like another video to describe literally everything about crypto scanner, there'll be another 30 minutes, 40 minutes of how to search in specifically and what you can get in return out of that search. We can make that, but I don't really want to do it unless this video will be around like 2 hours, which I think it's by now it's like almost around 50 minutes, 55 minutes, which is not really pleasant. But I had obligation to tell you whatever that I know, and I find it useful, especially in Tradingview, which is one of the useful one. It's the top one that I showed. The things that I'm using: trend line ray, horizontal ray, parallel line, fib extension, brush, rectangle, call out, long and short position. That's the main one that I use. The rest of it, they are useful as well. I'm not saying they're not, but something that I don't use and I haven't seen being used that much in cryptocurrency financial market. So that wraps up everything about this video. Hope you like it. Make sure if you enjoy, please like, subscribe, and press the bell notification. Just tell me, what do you want, what do you feel you like the most that you want me to explain? Do you want me to talk about, for example, about the area of the, resistance and support? Do you want me to talk about how to work with Fibonacci, or like etc.? Because we are actually looking forward to make some videos about, technical analysis. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.